the address to your emergency?
4th Street Laundromat. I've been exhausted.
Hello, and welcome to the History of True Crime. Today we are looking into the case of Shawn Grate, Ohio's own twisted killer. Shawn Michael Grate, born August 8, 1976, was said to have had a fairly normal childhood, growing up with his brother and half-sister. Grate's parents divorced 2 days before his 6th birthday in 1982, and a few years later his mother, Teresa, left the area to live with a man in Kentucky. Grate struggled with this, his dislike of Teresa's boyfriends causing a disconnect between mother and son. Grate's half-sister Barbara stated that it was a battle in the household between the mother and son, and that it was clear Grate harbored murderous fantasies toward Teresa. Grate continued to live with his father, Terry, attending River Valley High School where he played baseball, excelling in the sport. This was cut short due to a broken arm that required surgery. Grate never played again. Grate turned to crime early in his life, after receiving a diagnosis for depression that hailed from an upbringing of neglect and detachment. Custody of Grate and his brother Jason was awarded to their father in 1994. Just months later, he was arrested for grabbing his girlfriend by the throat. This was only the beginning. After graduating in 1995, Grate seemed to remain off the radar until Grate and an accomplice broke into a house in Marion, stealing money and jewelry from the property in October of 1996. In January 1997, Grate was given a felony burglary charge and sentenced to 4 years in prison. Grate served only 10 months and was released in October of the same year. Things only got more gruesome from here. Grate had married his partner Amber in 2011. Together they had 3 children, though divorced in 2012. At this point, Grate became a drifter, sleeping in abandoned houses, breaking into properties and squatting, or sleeping on the streets. Grate was arrested during his time on the streets due to missing child support payments, though he stated he could not keep a job for more than a few weeks. 2016, a young woman who will be known as Jane Doe called 911 and reported her own abduction. Late Tuesday night, the 13th of September, from the Ashland house, 911 received a call, a young woman whispering into the phone, her abductor asleep just feet away from her.
Where's she at now?
Asleep. I'm in the bedroom with them.
Is there any way you can get out of the building?
I don't know without waking him, and I'm scared.
She managed to escape the bonds around her legs, keeping her in place, and locate the phone of Shawn Grate. The details that she revealed were truly chilling.
I've been exhausted.
Jane revealed the events that took place in the Ashland house to the dispatcher, and later to police officers that attended the scene. After 20 minutes on the phone to the dispatcher, Jane was found at the house, completely nude, in shock and visibly injured. Grate was apprehended at the scene of the crime and taken into custody, where he was questioned. During the course of the questioning Grate faced, it is clear that this man has no remorse for any of the horrendous crimes that he has committed to a woman that he claimed he intended to marry. Jane denied any discussions of marriage or potential intimacy occurring between the two. Grate and Jane had met in the summer of 2016 at Ashland's Salvation Army and Community Center. Here they became close over the course of a few weeks. Grate made advances on Jane, wanting more than friendship, but she declined, even refusing to share her phone number with the man. Sunday, September 11th the same year, Jane had agreed to come with Grate to his home to collect some clothes from him. As Jane read the Bible in one of the rooms, Grate went to the kitchen, supposedly to collect these clothes. When he returned, his demeanor had changed and Grate's intentions became sinister. He yanked the Bible from Jane's hand. "You're not going anywhere," he said, no matter how much Jane resisted, kicking, punching, and pushing Grate away. He returned her actions with twice the force, beating and strangling the young woman before tying her up in various weird positions, even telling her that if she struggled, the rope would strangle her to death. Over the course of 3 days, he took advantage of Jane. Over the course of the assault, she was drugged, sustained bruises, head trauma, and injuries caused by sexual assault. Grate had also taken the time to shave a heart into the young woman's pubic hair. Jane told officers that during this time, Grate had assaulted her in every way imaginable. Officers took their time to question Grate carefully, building a rapport with him in the hopes of gaining all the information that was needed to convict him on all counts. Believing that this was an open and shut case, the process was slow and repetitive, but Grate slipped up during the questioning and gave officers all of the information that they needed in relation to Jane.
Having sex.
Against her will?
Well, it ended up she didn't like it, and she was really beating herself up about it. The sex part. So
It looks like you might have hit her a couple times.
I did, because I lost control.
But something wasn't sitting right. When police had arrested Grates, they couldn't have known that they were walking into the house of a serial killer. Another local woman, Elizabeth Griffith, had lived in the same apartment complex as Jane. At first, Grate denies knowing her. When he realizes this isn't working, he states he knew of her, but they had only spoken once or twice outside of the complex. Police challenged this. Elizabeth had been missing for over a month at this point. The last call that she made was traced back to Grate's phone, still denying any knowledge of her whereabouts. Thinking that police had already completed a search of the house, Grate steered the conversation away from the fact that she was missing, stating he had spoken to her just a week prior to his arrest. This confirmed for investigators that Grate must have had something to do with Elizabeth's disappearance. After avoiding any conversation about Elizabeth, another officer attempts to speak to Grate. She appeals to his emotional side, pleading for his help to find her. He remains ambiguous. During the course of the questioning, he already makes justifications for her life having ended. Help me find her. I might not be able to take you to her, maybe someone else, or others. Here Shawn fully implies that he has other victims before returning to the conversation about Elizabeth. This time his tone is bitter, uncaring, still unwilling to disclose the location of Elizabeth's body. He begins talking about another girl. I could take you to a place in Mansfield. Here Grate admits to the murder of Candace Cunningham. The girl had never been reported missing due to her intentions to move to Mansfield to be with the perfect man. The relationship between Candace and Shawn was volatile and short-lived. Her body was dumped in the woods in 2016 behind an abandoned house that Grate later set on fire. During the interview, Grate was asked how he strangled his victims. He willingly offered to demonstrate this on video. And was offered a doll or teddy bear, he joked with the officer. I thought I would demonstrate on you. In the video, he speaks about Candace and how the events of her murder took place. Grate admitted to 2 further murders. The deaths of Rebecca Lacey and Dana Lowry were originally not tied to Grate, but the cases were reopened and quickly closed after he admitted fully to both deaths. The questioning returns to Elizabeth. Patience has paid off as Shawn finally breaks. He explains where Elizabeth can be found.
The house where I came from.
Yeah? There's somebody in there?
Yeah.
Who is it? Is it Elizabeth? Where is she in there?
Elizabeth's body was later recovered from the Ashland house. On September 13, 2006, Shawn Grate was arrested in a house that he had broken into due to the bravery of the young woman that he had abducted. Grate faced trial in 2018 on April 9. He was represented in court by a court-appointed attorney who entered a plea of not guilty on all charges. Grate confessed in a press interview that he was guilty of 5 counts of murder. This plea was later changed to not guilty by reason of insanity. Grate, while in custody, gave details of 2 of the murders that he had committed to 2 news organizations. A gag order was obtained and Grate was evaluated to see if he was fit to stand trial. He was deemed fit and pleaded guilty to 15 of the charges against him. Grate gained over 23 counts, all first, second, and third-degree felonies, all of which horrified the country when the news was released. Grate's convictions consisted of murder, 3 counts of aggravated murder, 3 counts of kidnapping, 4 counts of rape, 4 counts of abuse of a corpse, 4 counts of burglary, breaking and entering, and tampering with evidence. Grate has been sentenced to death and is set to be executed in March 2025. If you liked this video and want to find out more, click the link in the description to access our #1 source of information. Like and subscribe to be the first to see our next video. Do you have a story you would like to hear on our channel? Comment down below to hear your favorite true crime stories.